Hey, what's up, Scrubs? I got another deck, of course. This is a deck that I've been playing a bunch on Octagon, and I've been doing pretty good with it. Granted, I haven't ran it into too many bad matchups in my mind. I won't really get into what I feel is a bad matchup right now, but I'll run you this list of ramp Gotenks. This is a super fast deck. It is the most consistent anger, like Rampaging deck that I've played. Its survival game's pretty decent. Not as good as like I would say like an Imagine Vegeta Rampaging or yeah, like Imagine Vegeta Rampaging is gonna probably outbeat this thing, but this deck has just crazy anger gain. I'll run through it real quick. I know if you guys have like played any games with like Awakening Gohan stack, you understand how strong the constant of this is. Your attacks are considered styled on every one of your levels. I didn't really play too much into that with my card choices in the deck outside of the Mint Gotenks package. I don't think you should really like run cards like Enrage Blast and like Shoulder Slam and like Android Headbutt or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see people running that, but I don't think those cards synergize well with Gotenks. Um, he doesn't do any damage with them. You're better off running better sand cards that have more endurance, do better effects. Uh, but if you don't know his stack again, he's got 2 anger on his level 1, which is super crazy because your opponent could throw an attack, you pop this level 1 and then instantly throw 1 attack and level. You go to level 2, you raise your anger 1, you choose 2 attack cards, and then you can discard a card to put a name card in your hands. The one I always just end up, the one that I end up cutting his other one, his Galactic Donut card, um, after a couple games because I never grabbed it. But grabbing Gotenks Kamikaze Ghost attack, um, this turns into a second anger. Then you go grab a ghost with it. If the ghost attack hits, that's another anger. So there's 3 anger. Like if this hits, and this you pop this, there's 3 anger right there. And that's off of, you played 1 card of your hands plus the 1 power. You discard a card from your hand, so now you've played 2 out of hand, and you're already almost at level 3. And your last card could have immediate anger. You level to 3. Level 3, if that card hits, you get another anger on 3. Then you got level 3 here. There's another anger. Like there's off a 3-card hand, you can very easily hit level 3 with 2 anger. Um, it's just silly. It's silly how quick it is. And that's with nothing on board. And that's not even assuming that any of the cards that you discarded had other effects to draw you more, raise your anger. That's assuming that this entire time that you're milling yourself with these effects, that you don't hit Power Beam and other stuff. It's just so fast. Um, it doesn't really rely on hitting at the same, like in the same way that like Rampaging Majin Vegeta and Goten rely on their hitting like their level 1 and 2 effects really heavily. Like Gotenks doesn't need that. Like he's just got so many little instances of like 1 anger that are gonna like sneak through, um, which for better or worse, I think it's for better. So, but we'll run through again. If you don't know what his stack is about, again, it's early level defensive, giving you name cards, kind of getting your cards back in your deck, and then level 3 and 4 just multiple energies with some stage gain on the level 4, a multi-use energy on 4, which means it's 2 anger if it hits because it's considered styled. Um, with the Rampaging Mastery, it'll help you close out games. The weakest level to be stuck on is the 3, but it does give you some pile hate, and if it's stopped, it can get a name card to your hand. So it does keep giving you options to get more and more anger. You get mill added onto your attacks as you're on 3 and 4. Does again just help you close out the game. It's just little bits of more and more chip with the energies. So he does surprisingly kill people for not being like a deck with a bunch of mods and stuff and being more focused on anger than damage output. But I do have a decent amount of damage output from my attacks, which we'll get into when I hit there. But we're going to start with like the events. We've got 3 sphere because meditation's a thing, especially with it being a limit 2 now. Events are just so strong. Uh, that's why we have 3 sphere. Time because it's a stop all. On the move, mostly because it's just ways to get more cards to my hand, give me some stages. I have a lot of energies in this deck, so getting stages is good. Drawing cards is always good. And the same block line is not the greatest. Um, Everything that we're running here gives anger except for escape. Pretty simple reason why we're running it to get anger. What is nice is that every one of my blocks except intercept has endurance, so I can pitch them to the mastery, which becomes a styled attack, and if it hits, it gains me an anger because of Gotenks and the constant effect on the mastery. If this is all too fast for anybody new to this mastery, again, all my styled attacks can hit. I can raise my anger. All my attacks are considered styled because of Gotenks. So I can, with the mastery, I can discard a card with endurance, which means that even when I get stage locked, pretty much every one of my cards has endurance. That is like an energy. So I can always turn it into an attack with mastery, giving an anger, because most people won't block a really wimpy physical attack that this makes. So again, pretty good on the block line. I think we have 12, 15 blocks total, just to make sure that we don't die to beat sticks. A lot of endurance on all these blocks. We get into the dead cards, planning cards. We got the 3 ghost allies. Each one of them does the same thing. If you can read them, just add some more mill, but they're searchable with my named card, Kamikaze Ghost Attack, which this also has to effect. Gotenks does a lot of self-mill with his powers. Each one of his powers tends to destroy cards off your own deck on top of the opponent's deck, which means that you can. There's a couple card combos we'll get into once we get to the energy attacks. But again, these ghosts, they all have an attack on them that you can use regardless of your stages. So they turn into 1 anger if they hit, and they are tutorable. So just something to consider. And more mill on them. They destroy your opponent's top of your opponent's life deck. Just more ways to close the gap on your opponent. Sane Rage, because it's an anger card. With how the power levels are shaping out to be in the game right now, a lot of times you might not get the draw on this because you're really not doing stage damage, and a lot of the MPs that came out in the last couple of sets here have very high power levels. So, but really this is at least a 2 anger card though either way. It gives you some cards back in your deck. Sane Inspection Drill. This card, again, because of the fact that you have the constant of all of your styled attack, all of your attacks are considered styled. You can discard this card at the mastery for an attack, and then instantly draw another card. So this, if you get this on board, it's kind of like this deck has the ability to be mid-range, kind of in the same sense if you've watched my Gohan commanding. Both those decks are built really aggressively to where the only cards that I can't pitch to the mastery that are dead are like these, but these are searchable, so you're generally not going to draw into these. This is like the most dead card you can get in your hand right here. And even then you can discard them out of your hand with level 2. But Tactical Drill is really good. If you have to pass, you put it down. It has a physical attack. This helps you get through blocking drills, defense shields. This also, just if it's on board and it hits, gives you an anger. But otherwise, if you draw it into your hand, you pitch it for a free attack and then a draw. And if it hits, gets you an anger with a mastery. Just super good. Super good. We'll get into the main attack line. I'm going through this really fast here because I think a lot of this is pretty self-explanatory. This is an MPPV deck first, with beats second. So we get into the attack line. That's why we're running Face Strike. It's immediate 2 anger. Again, the constant on the mastery means I only need 4 anger to advance an MP level, which means I can land any one of these single anger attacks in the deck, or be at 2 anger after my level 1, and then throw this and instantly level. What's cool is when this hits, it lowers your anger 2, but then you add on the hit effect of the mastery after that, because it gains the attack gains it. So you put it after the hit effect on here, so you'll still get an anger. So this card is potentially 3 anger. And if it's stopped, you throw it into a fence shield, you get an anger. This doesn't happen as often anymore, but with energetic being back, especially sometimes they might grab a burning ore drill and have that out, throwing this into there, really good. Or a booze new drill, absorption drill. He can only use it if he hasn't stopped an attack, or sorry, if an attack hasn't hit already. So just something to consider. We got Saiyan Spin Kick. Anti-anger kills an ally. That's what it's in here for. It's got endurance. It's got anger. Terrifying Strike is a potentially unstoppable attack that can give you 2 anger in a swing because it has hit raise anger, and the master will go to its 2nd anger. It's just here for those really clutch anger swings. We also have Dev Blow, anti-anger, anger. It gives me 2 anger. It's considered styled, because it's considered styled. Dashing Punch, again, just more skips are really good. I've wanted to run Sand Gut Kick, but it not having immediate anger and me not really being focused on ending combat in this deck, has made me just opt to not run it, but Dashing Punch is still being run because it gives an immediate anger. If it hits, it gives me another anger, and it also can stop anger gain for my opponent. Uh, Kamikaze Ghost Attack. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. So, again, this is the main card you're searching with level 2. It gives you immediate anger. You go grab a ghost. If you use the ghost that you search with it, if that hits, it's another anger. So this card becomes a 3 anger card in the deck if it hits and the ghost attack hits. And if you hit it with one of your mill effects on your levels, you banish it and you get to draw a card. So super good. And it's got a lot of endurance. Burst, another anti-anger card, another 2 anger card. Lets you put some of these good cards back in your deck. I don't know. You're not really too worried about the hit effect on it though. Power Beam, this is just like Ghost Attack, where if you destroy it from your deck, you can banish it to draw a card. Or sorry, raise your anger one. Really good. Between this card and this, when you start hitting them with your self mill, it like just lets you cheese quite a bit. So, but this also is really cool in that even if they stop it, they mill 3. So again, it just kind of adds to the duality of the survival beats, or the MPPV survival, if you want to put them in order of what's more important. Then we get to Rapid Fire, again, just a critical attack, a way to deal with Wall Breaker, but this is a 2 anger card if it hits. Ferocious Blast is really good. We do have discard pitches to the Mastery and the level 2, so this can turn into like a 2 anger swing all of a sudden on level 2, and with the Mastery if the attack hits. Not to mention it has a really good immediate hit effect on itself. This card protects you against anger lowering. Really, really good card. Sane Massacre and Sludge Bomb. Again, this is Sludge Bomb and Massacre are more techy. We're not really rejuvenating in this deck much, but Sludge Bomb is just another way to crit, and it does give me some pile hate if I do rejuvenate it with something like Burst or with Enraged. But the biggest thing being is that it's just going to be another 2 anger card. It's an unpreventable. It helps me push the life card beats and push survival between Sludge Bomb, Rapid Fire, and the Mill. It's just a lot of unpreventable damage I'm throwing at my opponent, and ways to get crit effects if they hit. Sane Massacre is there for just board hate. Alliance setup. So I don't have any good. I was mainly finding that like allies were kind of a pain in the butt. So again, it was just a reason why to add this, but plus it also hits lowers my opponent's anger. So between Rapid Fire, Sludge Bomb, Massacre, Burst, these 4 energies are really good at stopping other opponents' anger decks between the critting and lowering their anger, the hit effect, lowering their anger, immediate effect. But same thing with my 2 attacks, Death Blow and Dashing Punch. Spin Kick as anti-anger. So I'm trying to, with this deck, it's built in with the mentality that we're trying to race people. Wallbreaker could see a use in here, maybe, but that would only be if I was really scared of other decks. I think this deck is just better off trying to go full gas pedal, and that's what it does. Good amount of blocks, a lot of endurance, keep you alive against energy beats, since we're not pushing stage damage really heavily. And with the fact that most of the energies have endurance, even if we get stage locked, we pitch them to mastery. A lot of free anger on our level 1 and 2 to help us get to 3. So 3 is the spot that you get stuck on, but with a lot of blocks, stage gain on the moves, a lot of on the board anger we can have. It shouldn't be too much of an issue, but I've definitely been slowed down on 3. There's a game that I had with Mark Bolger where he had a setup. He was able to stabilize on me, and after the first combat I hit level 3, and he was able to keep me down on 3 for a bit. But once you get off 3, level 4 just puts him on time clock. It's kind of like in the same way that Trunks Awakening does, giving you 2 anger. This level 4 becomes a 10 life card swing every combat. Not to mention you get pile hate. It gives you stages if you hit and you want to mill yourself. I'd rather 12 card swing because every one of your attacks gain destroy top card of your opponent's life deck. So very, very good level indeed, and it can give you 2 anger if each one of the uses hit. So he's got a lot of strong start, good finish. It's that level 3, which is like that middle ground where you get stuck on. But if they start stopping like they're level 3, you can always just keep pitching this level 3 to try to just even their life, wilt their life card down, life deck down. But even then, like if they start stopping it, to do that, then you start to grab Kamikaze Ghost Attack, and that's more anger. So It's just got such a crazy anger game. Biggest thing I see beating this is anti-anger physical beats and locking you on 3. Like if you're against Gotenks, you're gonna want to keep him on 3, lock him on, um, lock him down on stages and keep him here because these other 2 levels give you too much anger. Sorry. But I read through the deck really fast. It's been really fun playing it. It's really fast on anger. It does survival really well as a backup, and with how I have the attack lineup, there's just a lot of life card beats on top of just straight destruction that just come through, and the level chaining. It pushes both really well. There's been multiple games where I've decked people out when in the games that they are actually able to stop my anger game. Uh, I just beated them down on level 3 and 4. I usually do not get stuck on 2 very long. Like it's just super hard to keep Gotenks on 2. Wallbreaker could be a real problem. That's again why I have Rapid Fire and Sludge Bomb. I've played against Eric, and Eric wallbreakered me, and I just scooped immediately because I didn't have. I think I didn't even have Sludge Bomb in here. I think I had Rapid Fire like a 2, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna ever hit Rapid Fire on him. I didn't even want to play it out to try to see it. So that's something to keep in mind. Wallbreaker could really hurt you, but I'm not gonna run more than what I have as an answer to it. I don't think it's worth it to run like Sane Jump Kick. So, or Focused Assault. But I hope you guys like this list. It's really fast. Try it out. Maybe you want to tweak it. Maybe there's something you see different. But I think keeping the block line high as it is keeps you in the game in the survival. You need the high amount of blocks for when you play against decks with a lot of anti-anger. Um, yeah. Best of luck testing it, guys. I hope you really enjoy it. This is becoming like this is just like a really good solid deck that I don't think I'm going to touch it anymore. I'm just going to leave it as is and use it to test with people and stuff. So take it easy. Peace.